Hello everybody, we're going to talk a little bit about some different strategies that we will be using in math. This one we've talked about just a little bit, and there will be several others coming in the coming days, okay? So I want you guys to make sure that you're watching these videos, and then I'm hoping that we can start to apply some of these strategies to help us with our math and help our problems, make them a little bit easier. So the first strategy that we're going to talk about is doubling and halving, and we did talk about this. So this is a strategy that can be utilized with multiplication, okay? It will not work with all of your strategies, so you can't do this with adding and subtracting. You can do it with multiplication, and then we'll discuss if this is a strategy that we want to use for division. So let's just focus on multiplication at this point. Remember in multiplication that we're always going to have three parts of our equation, okay? So we are going to have our two numbers that we use to multiply, and these are considered our factors. It's these factors that we can double or half in order to try to get an answer that will be a little easier to find. Now, if you think about how you would typically solve this, we would normally take our 16 times 5 and we might line it up in an algorithm, and we can do the individual facts of 6 times 5 to get 30, and 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 80. So I'm showing you the 80 at this point because I want to show you that we can get there just a little bit quicker if we can use this strategy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double the first number. Now you do not always have to double the first number. You could always have the first number if it's possible, but let's focus on doubling the first number. So I should be thinking about the first number, which is my 5, and I should be thinking of what is 5 times 2. So I'm going to write this because I know that when I multiply times 2, that is when I double something, okay? I'm still going to keep my multiplication sign, and I'm going to have a new factor, and this factor is 16. This is the one that I am going to take half of. When I take half of something, that is when I divide it by 2. So if I take a peek at this, this doesn't look like it has made it any easier at all if I look at it in this format. But if I start to think about these numbers, I know that 5 times 2 is 10. And I know that 16 divided by 2, or 16 being cut in half, is 8. And if you notice, I now have a very easy math problem because anytime I'm multiplying times 10, I can take the second number, the 8, and add the 0 to make it 80. So you can see I can get there a lot quicker. Now, I won't be doing these by writing them down if they're easy in my head, but they aren't always easy in your head. So in this case, I could have just turned the 5 into the 10 by thinking about what is double, and I could have turned the 16 into the 8 if I could have thought about dividing by 2. So if you can do it in your head, that would be the easiest thing to do. Okay, let's take a peek at another one. We're going to do 5 times 68 on this one. And you're going to see that this is a strategy that works very, very well anytime that you have a 5. So let's go ahead and go through this the same way first by writing out exactly what we're doing. So I am going to double the 5. That means I'm going to take the 5 and multiply times 2. Still keep your multiplication sign that was there. The second thing I want to do is I want to take half or divide by 2 of the other factor, okay? Now this is where we sometimes need to use our break apart skills. It's not always easy to look at 68 or to do a math problem, but we should be able to look at it and we should ask ourselves, what is half of 60? And I know that half of 60 is 30, so I might take the first digit and I might take half of it. And I know that half of 8 is 4. So if I was adding 30 plus 4, I would get 34. So I know that doubling the 5 gives me 10. Half of the 68 gives me 34. And this is another one that very quickly I should be able to see that I have my 34 and I add my 0. Okay? All right, let's do one that does not involve a 5. So let's try 18 times 40. All right, so once again, I want to double the 18. So that's going to be 18 times 2. And I want to take half of the 40. So that's 40 divided by 2. Now, if you can do this in your head, that would be preferable. If you can't, you might need to use your work off to the side. But I know that 18 times 2 is 36. And I know that 40 divided by 2 is 20. And that doesn't look that much easier than it was beginning. So let's do this again. I am now going to double the 36 again, because as long as I do it to one and I do it to the other, and I'm going to take half of the 20. Doubling 36 would give me 72. Taking half of 20 would give me 10. And you can see that if I can do this mentally, I will get there quicker. Okay? We may have some that we're going to want you to work on using this strategy. So please make sure you watch this video and try it out. And we will talk about it more in the coming days.